Good morning, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. I hope you're doing very well today, and I am really excited to bring you another Modern Donation League. I'm excited for a few reasons. Number one, I'm hyped about the list. This is a Mardu mid-range list technically, although the white is a micro splash. It is a Rakdos main deck with a Godless Shrine and a Savai Triome to enable the white cards out of the sideboard, which include Kaya's Guile ×2, a Stony Silence, a Kataki War's Wage, and 2 copies of Engineered Explosives, which of course are fine in Rakdos, but even better when you can set them to 3 with the help of a white land. So I love this archetype, I love Rakdos, I would probably play it a lot more if I had more time, and all the rest, and of course this is Rakdos in all but name, with a little bit of help from white. The other reason I'm excited about this is I think the list is really well designed. Like, I like the archetype, but I really like the list too. And we have to give the donor major credit for that. This is for you, Ricky Rankle. And I wish it wasn't white, actually, because then we could say it's Ricky Rankle's Rakdos mid-range, and we have quadruple alliteration. But it is Ricky Rankle's Mardu midrange, and I guess we have 2 pairs of alliteration. That's pretty cool too. The reason though it's hype that Ricky designed this list, and I just made a tweak or two, a suggestion or two, is because Ricky has played very little Modern, like almost no Modern ever before. And with that in mind, you usually see some pretty off-the-wall stuff or some big gaps in people's knowledge. Totally understandably so, by the way, I was no different, but Ricky did his homework and came up with an awesome list, a very impressive one. So I'm going to take you through it real quick, then we're going to play ourselves a live recorded solo league. And thank you to Ricky once again, also to Vince Flynn, our newest Patreon supporter, a writer of very thoughtful YouTube comments, as many of my viewers are, and a confidant tier patron. Now, thank you very much, Vince. Appreciate you, my friend. So, let's go through the list real quick. We have 22 lands. I also admire Ricky's dedication to the basic land game. We're opting for an East Asian theme with some lands that are sadly not old bordered online, but are very beautiful nonetheless. Promo lands from Ron Spears and Edward P. Beard Jr., which do synergize very nicely with some of our other cards artistically, like these promo Blood Moons, like Magmatic Channeler, and indeed like Kataki War's Wage. So an aesthetically beautiful deck, if I do say so myself. We've got 8 fetch lands leaning more into black than into red beyond the Bloodstained Mires. We've got the 3 Blood Crypt, 4 Swamp, 1 Mountain, the aforementioned Triome and Shrine to enable the white splash, and 4 Blackcleave Cliffs, a nice solid land base, one that doesn't have much utility, one that probably shouldn't have much utility. Your utility becomes playing a 3rd color, right? Instead of playing something like Castle Locthwain or Castle Embereth or whatever you prefer. We have 3 Fatal Push only. Now, that's actually something that I would like to see the 4th copy of, but I do respect playing only 3. We're going to see how it works. Obviously, you all know all the use cases for Fatal Push. It's been a very mandatory card for mid-range decks for a very long time now, despite being one of our most high variance ones. This is one suggestion I thought about making but didn't. We're going to see how 3 Push does. We get to be very proactive with 4 Inquisition, 2 Thoughtseize, and 4 Lightning Bolt at our 1-drop slot. All of those cards are they're lower variance, more proactive than Fatal Push. And we are on Ragavan, my friends. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer is the biggest potential upgrade, I think, to Rakdos or Mardu, with a very light white splash mid-range out of MH2. Some of the other cards maybe not the best fits. Dauthi Voidwalker, I think also potentially a good fit, but maybe a little more meta-dependent or build-dependent. But Ragavan, I have high hopes for. I have said from day one that this guy juns, and he also can Rakdos. This is a card that can be played in mid-range. There have been some people who said it's not a mid-range card, it's for other archetypes. I don't agree. I think he's good enough. We're going to try 3 of them here. And, being a little bit more on the front foot, being a little bit more aggressive, that maybe rewards us for playing like the 4th Bolt over the 4th Push, for example. 2 copies of Dreadbore, and Ricky initially had none. I did suggest this pretty strongly. I do think we need Dreadbore or Terminate or something. Right now in the meta, Dreadbore is good, but, against, like, Prowess, Terminate's better, so either one, I think we needed one. We went with Dreadbore. Another point of contention, or a point of suggestion, we ended up having to make a couple cuts for these Dreadbores, right? So we were initially on 4 Ragavan, which I didn't mind, but seemed like the most logical cut maybe to me. And then we needed to make one more cut, and Ricky wanted to cut a Seasoned Pyromancer. I said I probably literally would not leave home without 4 of these, and we ended up cutting a Channeler instead. He kind of left it up to me. I really hope we don't get punished for this, but yeah, 3 Channeler, 4 Spyro, my preferred split. We do have a hardy top end, I acknowledge that, but remember, Ragavan can ramp us, let us double spell into the middle of the match, or middle of the game with even high curve stuff. He can power out Planeswalkers on turn 2, Blood Moons on turn 2. So Spyro just being able to turn the corner, even though Spyro itself is not a very good turn 2 play, I think is still very important. So, and Channeler is just like the weakest card in our deck overall. I think she's a good fit for the archetype. I think she does a lot, but card quality here is lower than any other card in the list, I would say, for the main deck. So 3 Channeler, 3 copies of Kroxa, hard to argue against that. We talked about 4 Spyro and 3 Blood Moon already. How about this? 2 Bonecrusher Giant. This is a card that it's tempting to look at and say, okay, maybe we can trim there, maybe we can cut there. I have that instinct, but I resist it because I think it's a trap. It is a 2-for-1. It is good pressure in a deck that can lack good pressure, and it's an out to protection from red. Lots and lots of things to like about good old Bonecrusher Giant. And then we have 3 Lily of the Veil, not 4. I think 3 is about right now. I like that call a lot from Ricky. And 1 of each of Kolaghan's Command and Lily of the Last Hope. Kolaghan's Command, I think, is good in the meta with the rise of artifacts, better than it was pre-MH2, but still not necessarily a card that we need multiples of. So I like the 1 of, I think it's main deckable. And Ricky wanted to play the 1 of Lily the Last Hope. He thinks she's underrated. She is a pet card of his, one of his favorites. I like it a lot too. Lately, when I play her, I don't find her, or she's a little bit subpar, but in theory, I agree that she is underrated and underplayed. Maybe we'll get to see her a time or two today. In the sideboard, we've touched on a few things. Let's start at the far end with 4 copies of Dauthi Voidwalker. We're able to side in a whole stack of these guys when relevant, against control, against big mana, against graveyard decks. Lots of use cases for Voidwalker, and maybe more of a sideboard than a main deck card, although that's a little bit hard to say. I could see a split, and I could also see, if we're relegating these effects to the sideboard, playing like 2 Voidwalker, 2 Spellbomb, in order to, have something that's a little bit more of a sure thing as far as hard graveyard hate goes. But I love the card, happy to play it here. We had some great moments with this guy in Rock, maybe we'll have some here today. We were respecting prowess with 2 Brutality, 2 Kaya's Guile, and a Kalitas Traitor of Ghet. Very cool stuff. In addition to some more removal in the form of 2 copies of Engineered Explosives. We ended up trimming 1 from the side. I think it's a great card, but I think I like 2 a little bit more than 3, especially because it's hitting our Ragavans now. It's not as much of a free roll on 1. 2 copies of Pillage, additional artifact hate in a meta that's more rife with artifacts than it has been in a long time. Additional big mana hate to supplement our Blood Moons against those types of decks. It's a very powerful card. And speaking of the artifact hate, Stony Silence and Kataki's War's Wage. Initially, we had the Katakis in there, actually, and I said, well, I like the card. I think Stony Silence is probably a little bit better. We revised to 2 Stony Silence, and then right at the end, Ricky made another suggestion, said, hey, what about suggesting the Kataki again? And I said, sure, let's do a split. I think that's totally fine. I think that's very reasonable, actually. They cover each other's bases kind of well. The first copy of either one is probably better than the second copy of either one. So that's pretty cool. And as we said, on theme artistically. So that is our Mardu midrange shell for Ricky Rankle. Thank you very much, my friend, for your support and for a great list. Thank you out there for watching. Let's play some games and have a good time, slinging some black-red spells and maybe a white 1 or 2 post side as well. All right, my friends, we can keep this one on the play. Looks like an absolutely fabulous hand. Okay, we see Ether Vial, Imperial Recruiter, and Knight of Autumn. I think we're going to take the Vial, plan to Thoughtseize the Recruiter on turn 3 after we deploy our Channeler. So a basic Swamp deck playing this stuff. This might be Yawgmoth splashing red. And I know that sounds a little bit odd, but the reason I say that is because sorry, just thinking about this play here. Yeah, I think we're still going to get the Channeler down. Is because I recognize the name Predicted as somebody who people have mentioned as a Yawgmoth master, a Yawgmoth grinder, right? So I suppose Imperial Recruiter was going to basically find almost everything in Yawgmoth, interestingly enough, right? Okay, so they've used the Heath and the Catacombs. Whoa, Lily the Last Hope. That is a hype draw. Big problem is we're letting the Recruiter resolve, which I don't know if we should. However, if we play Lily, tick up, kill the bird, they're going to tap out for Recruiter. We can Thoughtseize whatever they tutor up, and then +1 on the Recruiter itself. So I think I'm going to do that. Attacking here because every point of life matters for staying ahead of certain aspects of the combo. I guess in theory they could tutor up a Dryad Arbor and start, or fetch up a Dryad Arbor and start pressuring Last Hope. I kind of doubt that'll be the play because, of course, that just dies to the +1 too. That was so good. So good in that spot on the play. Might just play Knight of Autumn as a 4/3, or maybe they're going to go, yeah. Okay, we'll take that too. Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize, Kroxa. Quite the hand. We only have one card in the graveyard, so we're not going to become a 4/4 this turn, quite. So if we think we're Thoughtseizing, we should probably lead on Kroxa. On the other hand, I suppose our Thoughtseize information could inform our decision a little bit better here. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here now. Okay. Court of Calling, we might want to account for that by bolting the board, for example. Ivy Lane Denizen. Whenever a green creature enters the battlefield. Okay. That's a bit of an odd one. I think I'm still going to take Imperial Recruiter? Or is maybe Court of Calling better to take because we know Recruiter's pretty well answered by Lily and therefore is not a true 2-for-1? I'm not exactly sure. I think I'm still going to take the Recruiter. It's hard to make a bad play there, you know what I mean? Spyro. Sure. Interesting spot. Kroxa seems fine here, but it also seems potentially fine to just play Spyro, loot away these two cards, grow to a 4/4. Tick up with Lily, shrink the Denizen. Probably have a Kroxa escape next turn. Losing the Fatal Push does seem a little bit loose, though. So what if we just begin by spinning away the Kroxa? As good as it is. It's good in the graveyard, too, right? Inquisition. Alright, we'll take that, as we can just get the cord this way. Nice. So we don't have a very mana-efficient turn unless maybe they play a Fatal Push target. But a very powerful turn nonetheless. Another Inquisition, eh? I think we're going to spin that one away, although attacking is becoming really tempting. Blood Moon seems interesting, and they're just going to concede to the sight of it. I was going to say, I think we probably take that. Alright, that was an absolutely serious display from our deck, with a lot of interesting decisions. We're against what I still kind of think is Yawgmoth combo, splashing red, but there's certainly one or two things that don't necessarily make the most sense there. Let me take a minute to think about this one. Alright, so I think the recipe here is to trim around the edges just a little bit. We're going to be very, very removal heavy. You know, maybe if they were more overtly all in on the graveyard, we'd play some Dauthi Voidwalkers here for now. I think I'm going to rely on Kaya's Guile, Kalitas, and just the plan A, basically. But trimming around the edges, there's really not very many bad cards at all in this 60 to begin with. So lots of decent cards you're going to see go by the wayside here. And, you know, I like leaving about 2 Lily, about 1 Kroxa, stuff like this, totally fine. Final cut, final cut. Maybe play with only 1 Brutality, that could feasibly be a bit slow. I'm not exactly sure how good EE is here, but I think I should play both until such time as I see more, and looks like a fabulous keep once again. Alright. OP representing Veil of Summer pretty hard here. I think my Inquisition will have plenty of time to hit, so we're going to maybe not play into that for at least 1 turn, because it's really nice to do that because we're holding up 2 pieces of interaction. Alright, so the Wall of Roots is a pretty premier fatal push target if you ask me. I know it can make green, but let's go for that. Okay, there's the Veil. Veil a bummer, we hate to see it. But at least now our Inquisition will hit unless they have a second one, right? Unfortunately, we have drawn just a couple of lands here. Spyro can bail us out, hopefully. Oh my god, the double Veil of Summer progression. Okay, well, sure. Now we'll bolt that. We had to 3-for-1 ourselves to kill a Wall of Roots, which is just repulsive. This card is still just about the dumbest thing going in Modern. Well, at least we made opponent hold all these Ether Vials in hand in order to use those Veils. We did get a little bit of tempo that way. But my god, was that just repulsive. Anyway, Magmatic Channeler, potentially a decent draw, but I think we're going to just loot away a couple lands here with good old Spyro. Alright, we're refueled. We got Stomp, a Fatal Push, a Channeler. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to efficiently interact with the opponent, and yeah, there's Yawgmoth. Nice. A nice draw. A nice draw. Okay, very good. Guess we'll get the Triome here. Or perhaps a tapped Godless Shrine to prevent flooding. Alright, OP cashing in the Yawgmoth. Gonna draw a card, makes sense. Okay, Channeler's a 4/4. We've got Kolaghan's Command and Stomp held up. I think we just start the clock here. No point in firing this off on one of their vials. They have two. Try to find a space where, like, shock plus discard is really good. Is it really good there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we care that much about the Dryad Arbor at the moment. It can enable some stuff. Yeah, not sure what to do here, to be honest. I think we're just going to let them untap. Or maybe we'll see if they have an Ether Vial activation. They do not. Got it. K-Command to shock and buy back Spyro is good value, too. I don't know if we need the value so much, but if we draw a land or two off the top, we will. Strangleroot Geists. I'm just going to take this hit for now. You could use this K command a million different ways. I think we are supposed to use it, and I think we're going to try to buy back the Spyro and shock the Geist, but that is absolutely unclear as to whether that's the very best use case. We could cleanly kill the Dryad Arbor, we could try to go upstairs, get a card out of their hand, we could try to double deplete them, if you will. Blood Artist, okay, some nice value from OP in response to this, but we do have the out to Blood Artist with this Stomp. Alright, we could play Spyro, or we could play Bonecrusher. I think I'm going to put faith in my cards to be good and play Spyro, but... Okay, they're pretty good. We got another Bonecrusher and a Lily the Last Hope. So, we're hoping to fade the combo, and the combo that doesn't require them to be at a higher life total than us specifically. Which, having answered Blood Artist, is very helpful. They have only one card left in hand. Maybe it's a Court of Calling? For something bigger than Yawgmoth? Oh no, it is X equals 4. Okay, there's Yawg. They're fueling back up. They found a Gilded Goose. Shrinking our Channeler, doing a ton here. Alright. Channeler being only a 2/2, we could definitely begin by spinning away this Bloodstained Mire. On the other hand, if we are thinking about attacking this turn, we can, like, stomp the Geist, shrink the Yawgmoth. He's got protection from humans anyway, but at least wouldn't kill us with his blocks. I think digging makes sense. There's so many cards that we can draw. Couple poor ones, potentially, but I think Because they refueled. The Inquisition's at least interesting here. It does prevent us from double spelling, though, with what's already in hand. And I think we do need to answer the board. Maybe Inquisition Stomp is still better than Inquisition Last Hope, though. A weird spot, not especially rewarded for spinning away the land. We just get a wall of roots. Alright, we'll just try to keep the board clear here, I guess. Yeah, I probably should have stomped first. That was actually relatively poor. And yeah, the lack of tempo here is, or the lack of efficiency, I should say, is a bit rough. Yeah, I should have stomped first. I was thinking about what spells to cast rather than in which order to cast them, and once I resolved on which ones to cast, I just kind of did it. But of course, if they had a more high-impact Inquisition target than Wall, taking that would have been sweet. Obviously, letting the Yawgmoth live is rough, but there's not really much we can do. Proliferate. Gain some life. Okay, Yawgmoth making the stand all on his own, just about. We draw a swamp. Okay, so Lily buy back something. Play a Bonecrusher to protect her. Try to outvalue them is probably the game here. In case we mill over another Spyro, maybe we should play the swamp and use her to... I want to hold the swamp in hand, though. Let's just use the white land, I suppose. Alright, so we already have one Bonecrusher. I think I will buy back another, though. Rather than a Channeler at this stage, but either one's good. Alright, we're hoping, obviously, for some bricks from the opponent here. I think we've been relatively lucky with their amount of flood. Grist. Very, very good at this spot, I would say. Very, very good indeed. Then we're proliferating, shrinking the giant. Yawgmoth really keeping us down here, but in theory with Last Hope... Ooh, what else do they have, though? Oh, is it maybe just another proliferate? Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit rough, isn't it? But if they attack Lily, I think we just let it happen and... Well, let's see what... Yeah. I think we're just gonna let her go down. Put them at 2 with an attack and a stomp, and then play a Bonecrusher Giant and force them to beat that. I know with Grist they possibly can, but we also can just kill them with a lot of top decks, and there they are. Beautiful. There's the Bolt. Okay. A very nice top deck, you have to admit. And I think we got, you know, relatively lucky there in that game, too, but the Rakdos deck has a lot of reach in these types of spots. Predicted says GG. GG's well played, Predicted. You can tell Predicted is a master of this archetype here. And yeah, super interesting. Like, we didn't necessarily see that many Yawgmoth signposts in game one, but I still kind of thought it was, you know, a couple context clues, like, you know, the Court of Calling in a black-based deck. We did see a Twilight Mire there game one, so, and then there's Imperial Recruiter. It just looked like kind of a weird progression. Here in game two, it looks like, you know, the Stomping Ground is the only real evidence of the Red Splash and of Recruiter at all. It was a very traditional Yawgmoth progression with the help of Grist, and this one was a little bit tougher for us to beat, but we do get there. Lots of debatable lines, I'm sure, but we kind of try to strike the balance between value and pressure, and at the end of the day, doing that lets you keep up on all axes and gives you the outs of rip and burn off the top. GG's, on to round two. Alright, I think this one is keepable on the play. If Bolt lines up and we draw a 2-drop, it'll be perfect. If we don't, it hopefully will not be too slow on the play to get us there. On the draw, this would be a much sketchier keep. I like Bloodstained Mire here. It conceals info better than Blackcleave Cliffs. It bluffs Bolt a lot less than Blackcleave Cliffs. And it does let us, if the case calls for it, as it does here, to fetch Mountain and Bolts. We are against prowess. And I don't know if this hand's very good against a strong prowess progression, but we do at least have that T1 kill, which is huge. Hopefully. Maybe they have mutagenic growth or whatever. Ah, they do. Okay. Oh, now the hand looks really sketchy, to be honest, but we can draw the right half off the top. We'll be in contention. That's not really the right half as far as, like, the best draws are concerned, but it is a 2-drop, and we do appreciate being able to do something here. Obviously, they could just Bolt or play another threat attack. That would be the worst. But forcing the opponent to point removal or point burn at the board is something, and using our mana is something as well. We can't really hope that they're stuck on one land, for example, because they kept 7 in the blind, right? They don't know they're against midrange. They're not keeping sketchy hands, per se. Really want to fade Manamorphose into Stormwing Entity, which we have. It's just a Sprite Dragon, and we can, you know, assuming there's no mutagenic growth again, we can just K-command that and have a clean kill. Lightning Bolt, very nice. Okay, so we're shaping up here. I don't know if we should maybe begin by looting away the land. The Verdant Catacombs, it seems okay, right? Seems okay to have that. Channeler is also maybe saving us a little bit of life as a blocker, as it did last turn. The land also allows us to go Last Hope into Lightning Bolt next turn, which is really not bad at all. On the other hand, pitching it could enable us to draw 2 kill spells here, or a discard spell and a kill spell, which would be better than using the K command. It could also just churn us through more lands on the top of our deck. So I think I'm going to loot away the Catacombs, but it is close. Ragavan and Spyro. Alright, we're going to play a Ragavan. We could even dash Ragavan and bolt the Soulscar instead of the Sprite Dragon. Or we could just get Ragavan down and have 2 more things for OP to worry about. Fascinating. You know what else we could do? I didn't even think about this, admittedly. We could have played the Last Hope and ticked up on the Sprite Dragon immediately. So many lines. So many lines. Only one brain to parse them out while talking. So, let's see here. You know, the Soulscar Mage is not a bad one to kill broadly in general. I think maybe that's the play here. And can you imagine if Ragavan finds a 1-mana spell that kills Sprite Dragon as well? So, let's begin with a Bolt here. If they just have another Mutagenic Growth, it kind of ruins our plans anyway. But, alright, we're casting with Dash. We're going for the highest possible upside here. Give us a kill spell for Sprite Dragon. Let's go. Gut shot. We'll take it. The only question is, do we spend the 2 life and keep the treasure, or do we just operate off of 3? We'll keep the treasure. We get to bluff this way, and we do have kind of a mana-hungry hand from here, with Ragavan going back to hand and a couple 3-drops in hand. But guys, that was nuts! Oh man, that was intense. Alright, we're hoping to fade the thing I wanted to fade last turn, which is that good old Stormwing entity, but looks like they're likely enough to have that. They sure do. Alright. They're going to top, but then they're going to play a Scalding Tarn. So if we can force them to crack the Scalding Tarn for some reason, we can mess up their scry. There's a Blood Crypt. Interesting. I think we're going to begin by looting that away. Looking for a clean kill spell for Entity. We don't get it, but we get Inquisition. Which I guess we're going to use. Soulscar Mage, Expressive Iteration. Alright, time to just get Lily down and shrink the entity and hope that they don't have a non-creature spell off the top. Which, maybe if they scry... if they scryed 2 to the top and they don't fetch, they will, but still, one can hope. Oh, they put another iteration on the top. Rough. So whatever else they put on the top can go to their hand as a floor, and then, or be played this turn as a floor, depending on how much it costs. This card's a beating. It's very good in general. I think it's especially a beating against midrange because it is a 2-for-1 often with the additional, prowess triggers and whatever else. And it allows them to just rebuild really well from interaction and depletion. So despite our really hype Ragavan play, and despite our uncontested Channeler selection, we're still, I still feel behind. Personally, still feeling behind here. They still have that Scalding Tarn in hand. So they, yeah, okay, sure. The Gut Shot is what they exiled, and they're gonna use it to be super efficient, take care of our Lily, I guess. Yep. You know, Lily at least saving us. Lily was a gain 6 there, basically, right? Because she shrunk it by 2 and then absorbed the 4/5, and also maybe forced them to play a way they otherwise may not have. And then the final 2 cards are the Tarn and the Mage, if I have tracked correctly. Okay. Lily of the Veil. That's pretty good. So we can K-Command to kill the Soulscar Mage, buy back a Channeler. And then next turn, if they don't draw a threat, we Edict the Stormwing, and we might be in it. It would be obviously pretty cool to have the Ragavan just down, you know? No other threat. No other threat. Oh god, the third expressive iteration. That's worse than a threat, probably. Unless they have a few bricks on top. Unreal. And they find Manamorphose. Okay, at least they didn't play another threat first, I guess, but maybe they didn't have the mana to. No other entity, no other threat at all. Alright, Serum Visions, we take that. Now we just gotta fade. Well, we still gotta fade a few things, actually, because they could find a land drop. 2. Expressive Iteration, a real tough one to see there. Okay. So at least we're gonna cleanly Edict, but the opponent's rebuilt, and we're at 9. Rough. And we kind of have to. Our hand's getting clunked up here, so we need them to continue flooding a bit here. One of the reasons I hesitated over some of the Channelers spinning away the lands is because, like, you can get punished against this deck for not developing your mana, even though you're perfectly functional at 3, minus escaping Kroxa. You see us not able to necessarily turn the corner here. We're just kind of single spelling, and part of that is because we've drawn some clunkers off the top without drawing other lands. You know, if we had flooded and had not spun away the lands, that would be the opposite problem, but you understand. You understand. OP topping again off Serum Visions, and then, oh, Lily draws a Bolt, though. I love that. That's so good. That's so good. Blood Moon is really interesting here, actually. We could play a Ragavan and a 4/4, though. But still probably better than Blood Moon, but Blood Moon's going to take them off of Entity. I think we got to play I think we got to double spell with the threats, though. I love that Lily ate a Bolt, but I don't really know why. Like, if they were protecting an entity, obviously they could just cast it. So I don't know what's in their hand. Especially game 1 that they were protecting, or if they're just kind of not wanting Lily to reset to another Edict, basically. Maybe they don't have much going on. They have something. It's Manamorphose. Maybe they were protecting the Manamorphose, hoping they'd draw a haste threat to reward them for that. I'm not sure. Fort Bolts! My own deep tech used against me. You hate to see it. Fort Bolt's so good there. Shrinking permanently the Channeler and tagging poor Ragavan. How rude. Alright, another Channeler seems okay here. The only question is, what are we doing with our turn? Honestly, just like, arguably the best play is just to play a couple 4/4s, or to have a couple 4/4s, rather. Swing for 3, play another 4/4 pass. Try to win the race. The opponent will be in chump block mode next turn. We'll have the ability to kind of filter with one and beat in with the other, potentially, so... Spyro's pretty good here, too, in a different way. Blood Moon is good here, too, in a different way on top of that. But I really think playing the 4/4 is the move. It's just another tight call, though. This Rakdos deck is filled with them, truly. They rip Entity off the top? Sure do. Okay. We can still get there, but that's insane. It's an insane top deck. Let's just draw a Bolt, or even a kill spell of any kind, really. Even if we are just, like, pushing Soulscar Mage, we're forcing them to trade here. And then we can still get really rewarded for the proactive Channeler play. Alright, this scry 2 leads to a couple bots. Alright, big top deck energy, let's go. Lily of the Veil, we will take it. We'll take anything that resembles a kill spell here. And they're conceding, let's go! Taking game 1 off of blue-red prowess. Feels great. Explosives, Guile, Brutality, Kalitas. Dauthi Voidwalker has some interesting applications, but ultimately, because it can't block and it's so fragile, we probably shouldn't play it unless our build is a little bit unusual, which I don't think ours is. Probably supposed to cut moons with how much we have to do, but there is definitely a little bit of scope to keep one in, even on the draw. But yeah, we just have so many very good things to do that I think our fringe cards are probably going to bite the dust here on the draw. Blood Moon, Thoughtseize number 2, Lily the Last Hope. That puts us at 61, and a very strong 61 at that. I don't know what the weakest card remaining is. It could be a Kolaghan's Command. It could be... If I had 4 channelers, I might cut one. Let's see what the curve looks like. We probably have to cut a high curve card here. Yeah, let's just get rid of K-Command, I guess. I think that is close to some of the others, but probably just a tad weaker overall. A wonderful hand. A really wonderful hand. Inquisition, Bolt, Brutality, Dreadbore, Kroxa, 2 lands. Opponent mulligan. Mulligan! They're gonna mulligan! Mulligan. Let's go. Keep. Keep. Okay, they got that Swifty. They got the Swifty. We've got another Dreadbore. Alright, with that in mind, we're just going to go for the Bolt here. Not sure how likely it is that they still have mutagenic growths in post side. Obviously, we're black-based removal deck, where that's awful. But also a red-based removal deck, where those are great. So, okay, Sprite Dragon. So now we really hope there's no free spell, because we can fully escalate the dragon here. To kill the dragon, rather. Drain them. Take a card. Very nice. The only question is what to pitch in order to do so. Obviously, Kroxa is one of them. I don't know if we want to pitch the 3rd land. That's definitely a bit sketchy. I think maybe it's just Inquisition. We'll plan to try to answer the board with these Dreadbores and develop our mana, eventually escape Kroxa. Boom, 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 boom. Kroxa. Okay. No mutagenic growth one time. They don't have it. They have Lightning Bolt, Soul Guide Lantern, which does punish our aggressive escalation away of Kroxa, and pitching the Inquisition a little bit, and also Lightning Bolt, but we're going to take... I mean, we're still going to take Iteration here, right? Like... They might not be able to use it optimally this exact turn, but turn 4 and beyond, they just rip another one anyway. Ooh, opponent very good at drawing this very good card, but we can't complain with our progression thus far. Okay, hopefully... Yeah, they missed a land. So they lose the Soulscar Mage, they also get... They don't get anywhere tempo-wise. We draw Spyro. Oh, man. I'm not going to loot away these Dreadbores. Not going to do it. Obviously, I wish Dreadbore was just terminate in this spot, in this matchup in general, right? I'd be feeling pretty comfy that way. Yeah, we're going to get hit by a Swifty. Yep, so if these were just terminates, we would be pretty comfy still. But I'm happy to have the kill spells rolled up. Anyway. Alright. You know, drawing an Inquisition would be good. Drawing like a Ragavan would be good. Something low curve, or a Fatal Push. Nice. We'll take that. I'm going to use one Dreadbore on the pushable threat, and I will not probably Dreadbore another small creature unless things get out of hand, or unless I just want to use my spells to dig with Spyro and get him down, right? But the idea will be that Dreadbore can beat the entities, and Fatal Push cannot, so obviously that's a consideration. Opponent drawn all their expressive iterations here. They do find a mountain. They're just going to pass holding up Lightning Bolt. Lily of the Veil, a fascinating one here. I think we just say go. It's probably hard to lose with all of these spells in hand that kill things, but a lot of them being at sorcery speed is rough, and not being able to be this proactive is rough too, right? But we're rewarded for at least a turn because they go Swifty into Sprite Dragon. Okay. All right. I don't mind the draw of a swamp at all. Seems okay. And we're going to play that because the fourth one makes a lot of sense. And especially because we're trying to empty our hand for Lily and Spyro. But if Lily could trade here and then eat a bolt, that would be amazing. So OP, you know, 3 cards in hand. They're operational with mana. They've got a redraw with Soul Guide Lantern. Lily's getting bolted again. Let's go, Lily. Let's go. And it's an entity. Well, we're really rewarded for just kind of hanging on to our stuff, taking some inefficient turns in order to keep our hard answers, because we are answering everything they put up. They go 1 top, 1 bot with Scry. All right, Dreadbore. Let's draw like a Magmatic Channeler or something here. That'd be sweet. We don't. But that's a pretty good one as well if we think taking the... Well, hold up. Cancel. There's no... We need to take 3 no matter what, because we need 3 red. Okay. Yeah. I guess that's worth it. Very, very nice, my friends. Very nice indeed. We've got another land which is poor, but also Ragavan the Monkey Man, ready to dash in at the unsuspecting prowess player. Okay, Serum to begin. I suppose they probably topped that last turn, but who knows? They draw a land, presumably off the Serum. 1 unknown in hand. Kalitas. Nice. Okay. So that means we can dash in with Ragavan, see what they've got, maybe steal a spell from them, and either way we can cast Kalitas as well. Unless we want to cast a 2-mana spell from the opponent, right? Even if Ragavan gets answered, we don't make the treasure, we can grab a swamp and play Kalitas. I hope you're going to draw with Soul Guide Lantern looking for a bolt or something. They found it. Fair enough. Kalitas is a pretty hype draw, not gonna lie. Okay. An uncontested Ragavan, or even a Ragavan connecting once, right? Could have been huge for our odds in this game, but obviously we're doing pretty well despite them having the answer there. And I think it's still anybody's game, because in order for Kalitas to really be deterministic, we need to back him up with a kill spell or two, which we currently are playing totally off the top in search of. Bonk Chain and some Monomorphosi together. Thankfully, this is happening without any threats on the field, but we want a Fade Entity here. Oh, they're bolting Kalitas. I guess he's drawing double bolt. Wow, that's great for us. Okay. I mean, obviously he has a higher ceiling than that, but we'll take it, right? So opponent totally hell-bent and playing off the top. Same for us, but we find Lily. Let's go. Seems okay. Let's put her to 4. Swing in with Grey Ogre. And they'll concede to that. Probably another land off the top. Very, very nice performance from Rakdos. I think Prowess is kind of a tough matchup, but we have a lot to do in the side, and we have a lot to do main. It's just a matter of, like, our clock often not being quick enough, but we had such efficient interaction here that even, you know, we had them at 11 life by turn 10. Not a very quick clock at all, but we just had enough interaction, enough depletion, and the opponent had seen enough. I think, you know, frankly, I was going to say maybe they could still play it out and burn us out, but we churned through all 4 of their lightning bolts, right? All their bolts are gone. The burn plan looks a lot worse. Maybe they feel they can't beat the Lily repeated edicts and Spyro flashing back tokens after they deal with it, and plus our top deck, so that is that. Good games. Alright, we're against a Lurrus deck, and I think this hand looks great against a Lurrus deck, so I'm going to keep it. We've been fortunate with our, you know, being on the play with some good opening hands so far. This hand, I think, a little worse than most that we've seen thus far, but still a very nice keep when we are 99% sure the opponent's playing small creatures. This hand also has just a little more variance, right? No discard effect, no third land. It's a little tough to say in the blind, but Lurrus gives us a strong cue to be confident in this keep, and I would keep it even without a companion, right? It's just a decent, functional blind game one hand, but we'll be happy to see OP playing maybe play a few threats that get bolted and then just get Blood Mooned out of the game and go to game 2. That'd be cool. Springleaf Drum. Okay, maybe hammer time. Ornithopter into Giver. Looking that way. Alright, we're going to bolt the Giver, I suppose. Might just untap and stomp the Ornithopter, because it's not only a thing that can carry a hammer, but it's also acceleration. But we draw Inquisition of Kozilek. That might be the play. That might actually be the play. And then we can decide whether or not to bolt Ornithopter or to hold it up. They have double Stoneforge Mystic. That's annoying. And a Colossus Hammer and a Memnite, so not much point bolting Ornithopter. We'll just take one of the SFMs, I guess. Probably bolt the other one. At least we have a ton of removal. Esper Sentinel. Yikes. Okay. So we know their whole hand. If we want to be mana efficient, we should bolt the Ornithopter. On the other hand, if we don't draw a land next turn, maybe we want to just bolt the Esper Sentinel and pay the tax. The higher upside play is to do, as I said, bolt the Ornithopter, hope we draw a land, an untapped land, but I think the fail rate of that is pretty bad, right? So we got to answer the Esper Sentinel without them drawing a card. And if we draw the third land anyway, which we do, I'll be happy enough, right? That's fine. We can then pay 2 and stomp it and still have the Lightning Bolt held up, which is pretty sweet. Nice. Okay. Lurrus eventually will be coming down the pipeline as well. There's that Stoneforge Mystic. There's another Colossus Hammer. So 1 unknown in OP's hand. Spyro. Okay, I think I'm just going to Dreadbore the SFM here and hold up Lightning Bolt, or we could... No, we still don't want to Bolt Ornithopter, because they just play a Mem Knight and they're back to being functional as Springleaf Drum, right? So we'll hold the Bolt for a more important target, probably. But if we, want to be mana efficient... Okay, oh, another SFM? Dude. I'd love to be holding the Bolt for Lurrus, but I just don't know if we can really afford to. I'm just going to continue being efficient, bolting the SFMs. I think the draw of Spyro sends us that signal more than anything else. Loot away 2 Blood Moons, sure. I know they have some use here, but I don't think that's the type of game we're playing at this moment. And hey, we draw a 3rd one anyway. I don't know how to feel about that, but sure. Alright, so we have a couple problems here. If they just put Lurrus into hand, we don't draw, discard, or removal. Lurrus could grind us out. If they rip the missing combo piece at any time, which they do, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my goodness, their draws have been pretty nutty, not gonna lie. That was insane. Yep. Nothing we can do about this. If only we had a fatal push for the big blowout, but we do not. That was rough. That was so rough, and even holding up Lightning Bolt couldn't have beat that, right? I don't think, because they have flash, so in response to the bolt on the first one, they just flash in the other. Insane draw from OP. Kataki and Stony Silence seem good, Pillage seems good, EE seems good, and then we could consider slower removal, less impressive removal like Guile, Brutality, and possibly even Kalitas, but I do doubt that latter one. These 6 cards have to come in. We could maybe play 1 Blood Moon. I, again, don't think that's the type of game we should be playing, although it's not bad. Just another case of us having so much to do. I think I'm going to keep all 6 discard spells in if I can, with maybe 1 Thoughtseize being in question here. Probably going to cut a Kroxa and a Spyro, get rid of some of this slowish value top end. I don't know how good Ragavan is here. There's not much out of their deck that we'd probably want to cast. So he's just kind of like a little pressure, a little ramp. Could still be okay, but maybe cutting 1 is fine. Yeah, let's get rid of the Thoughtseason on the play, and I guess we're playing without Blood Moon. Can go down to 2 Lily as well. And this puts us at 58. So I think maybe just a couple Brutalities for removal is totally fine. Those are better than Kaya's Guile as far as I can tell. And let's see how our curve's going to look here. Looking pretty great if you ask me. Edging away from Ragavan maybe makes our EE a little less likely to be symmetrical as well. So I like the setup here. We'll see how far it gets us. I'm pretty happy to keep this one. Rag on the play. I mean, exactly on the play on turn 1, even though we mentioned, you know, a couple of the reasons to maybe trim one, can very easily run away with the game, right? OP keeping 7. Let's see if they've got the explosive start again. Not really. It's Esper Sentinel, which is good, but we're just going to bolt it and pay for it, I guess. Sigarda's Aid. Should we cast Sigarda's Aid? No, I don't think I will. But getting it out of the opponent's deck with a random pseudo-mill effect is pretty cool, I guess. So we'll just hold up Lightning Bolt with this treasure, and yeah, you exile the card, and then until end of turn you may cast that card, so it is now in exile. I don't know what I'm doing with my pop-ups here. Let's try this again. Oh, they have another one. You hate to see it. Okay, well, we're holding up a whole lot here, if hold up is indeed what we do, but let's attack first. We exile Urza's Saga. Okay. So I think we're going to shock in here to play a Channeler, and that still lets us hold up Stomp and Lightning Bolt. It does kind of give away the game that we have probably a couple removal spells, or at least one high curve one, but that's still something we should probably do. Opponent doesn't do anything on the end step there. Pure Steel Paladin. I think maybe we just untap and Dreadbore it. It's inefficient, and they're going to get to draw a card probably either way if they have anything to do, but this way we don't get like our burn spell blown out by it, right? Kind of draw that trick out of them, because they'll probably do it anyway just to draw. EE seems good, but a little tricky in terms of how to use it on this exact turn, so let's just begin with a Dreadbore, see what happens. If they flash in a 1-drop, maybe we can attack with Ragavan and then EE for a 2-for-2. It's only a Shadow Spear, but that still opens up that play as an option. I don't think we're supposed to loot anything away from this hand, so let's just pressure as best as we can. Silent clearing. Okay. Maybe we just get the EE on 1 down and don't actively crack it quite yet. I think I like that. Ragavan's been amazing here, you have to say. We've drawn a lot of removal, but I don't know if we'd be able to necessarily keep up with everything they're doing you know, into a long game where they're not under much pressure without him on T1. So that was awesome. So I don't think we saw anything that we wouldn't have already known about on the draw. Couple things get a little bit worse, but you know, on that performance, even though he's worse on the draw himself, I'm going to bring back Ragavan. I might bring back a Thoughtseize too. Maybe just like we'll just move almost all the way off of Spyro. I know it's a good turn the corner tool, but I think that's also okay with our setup here. Sure. Interesting edge cases here. Alright, double discard, Kroxa, Channeler, Bonecrusher, it's a good one. We want to see a mulligan, they don't grant us that. That's actually a little bit rough, because we don't have efficient, we only have one kill spell and it's only a stomp. It is still a keep though, I would say for sure. But if we saw them, like, take a mulligan, I would be very happy with this hand. Giver of Runes. A stompable target. Okay, Pure Steel Paladin, Stoneforge Mystic, Giver of Runes. I mean, 2 must-kills, basically. But they can't cast the Paladin right now, which is really interesting. And Stoneforge is the much higher floor because they can actually cast her, and because she's a 2-for-1 if we don't take her right now. Pure Steel Paladin is the highest ceiling because they can run away with the game if we don't kill it single-handedly, but they have to kind of like draw... They have to draw equipment for that to be good, and they have to draw a second white land. And I mean, if they don't play it this turn, we can Thoughtseize it, like if they don't draw a white land right away. So I think I'm going to take Stoneforge Mystic, but this gives the opponent the possibility of nut drawing to punish us. Alright, so they play Urza Saga. We can now Thoughtseize the... Paladin, or, you know, we actually kind of... Oh, nice. So Lightning Bolt's such a good draw. I was going to say we don't want the Givers to protect each other forever, right? But we just draw Lightning Bolt anyway. No big deal. No big deal, right? It's going to take care of the Giver before they have all of the double protection effects, I guess. And they had Plains in hand. They actually did draw the white land, but they chose to play Urza Saga, which you understand because the card's nuts. They draw Memnite. So they're going to be making some constructs. So we can Kroxa the Nexus out of their hand, which is decent. I think that's actually probably our play. And like going on the Kroxa plan can outsize these constructs pretty handily. Opponent hasn't gotten any chip damage in with Giver of Runes, which is good news for us. It's also tough for them to like use Urza Saga and Luris of the Dream Den perfectly, because Saga's gonna go away. They're taking a lot of damage off Silent Clearing. That said, they're doing all kinds of really strong stuff. Obviously, this is a land that gets them 2 constructs and then is gonna go tutor something, right? So it's pretty rough, no matter what, when you're against this card. Which is one of the reasons that like Blood Moon is decent in this matchup. I just think like if they're operating off of a game 1 progression, Blood Moon doesn't matter. And I don't think we can afford for some of our cards to not matter. Expedition map, fascinating. Oh my god, look at these constructs. Wow. Okay. Pretty insane. The innocuous-looking draws of Memnite have actually been pretty crazy because they let them do everything while also powering up their stuff. So I think maybe we just escape Kroxa and hope they don't draw an artifact. But we've also flooded a bit. Our alternative it's like stomp something, play a Channeler, which is pretty bad. Alright. We're probably just losing single-handedly to Urza's Saga here. But let's play it out. Ooh, Esper Sentinel taxing us, eh? The constructs. Oh, this thing's an artifact. Oh my goodness. Alright, we have to trade here. Really sucks. Yeah, we don't even get to trade. Alright, we're pretty dead. We're pretty dead to the draw of an artifact, I guess. Thoughtseize. Pretty bad stuff, my friends. Okay, well that sucks. I don't know if I could have played that any differently. Yes, I will pay the tax so I can Thoughtseize myself to death. So, I don't know if we could have played that game 3 any differently. It was a rough one. Like I said, we didn't quite have the density of efficient kill spells. Urza Saga was a tough one for us to beat without having a Fatal Push, or even just a high density of kill spells to keep the Giver and the Memnites down and stuff. Maybe we could have killed the second Giver earlier, but I feel like we were just kind of a step behind at every single turn. So maybe the discard decision to take, I don't know. Like, as it played out, Pure Steel Paladin wouldn't have been that big a deal. So that's maybe something we could have done differently. I don't think it's correct to just leave the Pure Steel Paladin uncontested, but their hyper-aggressive draw and our flood near the end punished us for that. So, and their lack of drawing equipment. So, whatever. A tough one, just more evidence that Urza Saga is probably the most busted card in MH2. This deck was a real deck before this, right? Doesn't necessarily need it to be good, so who knows what the fate of Urza Saga will be, but for now, our really strong performance is derailed by that card more than anything else. Still some fun games, though. On to round 4 we go. Alright, my friends, so on the play, this is a very risky keep. If this was a Blackcleave Cliffs, it'd be less risky. Still carrying some risk. It's a strong one, but I think we should be disciplined and throw it back. One basic swamp, probably not good enough. Unfortunately, we mull to another one-lander. This one I'll keep because it's got all the low curve stuff. I'm just going to toss Kroxa back. I'm just going to put a Ragavan down and hope they don't have a turn 1 answer for him because he can unmulligan us pretty significantly. But at least we're making both of our colors with this hand, and we're casting every single spell with it, which is hype. Alright, Ragman. Please stick, please connect. No, Mountain! Play a threat. Okay, they don't play a threat. Well, we do draw the second land anyway. That's something. Lava Dart. Mm-hmm. Yep. You hate to see it. So, Inquisition. We see Soulscar Mage, Swifty, Double Stormwing entity. Alright, and a Manamorphose. Are we supposed to... I think we have to take Manamorphose here, otherwise they're playing an entity on curve, and we can bolt it, but like there's still no reason to give them the scry value, right? So I think we do take a Manamorphose, and then with our Thoughtseize, I guess just take one entity, because they're really hard to answer in the long run. And we've got 2 kill spells for the 2 small threats, or a bolt if they draw another Manamorphose for the entity, right? And they, of course, will, right on curve. Oh my god. Is this where our league starts taking a downturn? I think maybe. But we'll see. That was insane. And they're going to go 1 bottom, 1 top. At least we got this kill here, unless their one unknown is a gut shot or a mutagenic growth. Oh, I'm sorry. I just totally forgot about the lava dart. Very sorry. That was just a bad play. Okay, it definitely hurts them a bit. I won't pretend that I was 200 IQing to try to get them to operate off only 1 land. I just forgot about it, and they have a 2nd land. So once again, opponent drawing just everything they need. Kind of insane. After we mulligan. I'm going to push here because I think every point of life matters in this exact situation, although I know they're probably going to play Soulscar 2nd main, and that is a more desirable push target. Morale scoop. Alright, you mull to 6, your opponent nut draws, and then you flood. Let's just go on to game 2, I guess. So we're going to side the same exact way as we did in round 2. And we did get there in round 2, but that was off the back of winning game 1. Going to be a little tougher this way. Whoops, wrong Lily. Going to be a little tougher this way, right? But... I know we didn't last time, but I'm thinking about leaving a single Blood Moon in on the play. Or maybe we did, I don't exactly remember. We'll play without K-Command and we'll give that a shot. Alright. We got turn 1 Ragman. Let's go. It's only an okay hand, but we do at least have Kaya's Guile and a white land, so that's something. OP mulling, okay. But will you mull to a hand that cannot beat Ragavan? Will you be so kind? Nope, another lava dart. Hey, another Ragavan. So, do we dash him in here? I think we do. They can't even lava dart this one if they wanted to, right? And we get a Soulscar Mage. That's such a hype draw. We're so rewarded. Just like anything we can cast is huge, but specifically a threat seems awesome. Oh man, Ragavan's so good! Even against the lava dart deck, pretty darn good. Okay, if this is just an entity, we get to Dreadbore and redeploy Ragavan or Kaya's Guile, whatever we think is better. Magmatic Channeler, huh? Yeah, not exactly sure which is better, to be honest. We can protect Ragavan by guiling to exile their graveyard, and then we save him for like a later dash, or we can just say, you know, can you even lava dart yourself? Do you want to? If you can, and we can go Dreadbore into Ragavan. We can also save life that way. Alternatively, we could ignore the graveyard and just gain 4 or make a spirit. Either way, we're definitely killing Entity this turn. Actually, we cannot Dreadbore and Ragavan this turn because we don't have double red. So, scratch that. I think that prices us into the Kaya's Guile, which is probably fine. And then the only question is whether to gain 4 or get rid of the Lava Dart, basically, in their graveyard. I think with this hand, we're going to gain 4, but it's close. And I like pressuring them here because they're operating off a Fiery Islet. Maybe not anymore. So the fact that they have a third land makes me wish I did the Lava Dart. I got rid of the Lava Dart a little bit more, but that's okay. Blackcleave Cliffs. Well, it's another inefficient turn due to our lack of red, but we're still going to go for the Dreadbore here. And next turn we can double spell, whether it's Channeler plus a dashed Ragavan, Channeler plus a hardcast Ragavan if we draw like a push or Inquisition, or double spell if we draw other stuff too, potentially. Expressive Iteration, our favorite card to face. Hey, we beat a bunch of them round 1. KOP getting a land off of it. What will they play here? Hopefully not another Entity. They're going to Flame Slash the Soul Scar we stole from them. I accept. Seems good. Collective Brutality also seems pretty good. I don't know if I want to use it quite yet, though. I think we're just going to play the Channeler and say go. I don't think I want to dash Ragavan out into the Lava Dart at the moment either. Although, that makes our Brutality better. You know what I mean? Like, if they use the Lava Dart to stop Ragavan right now, it makes the Brutality better for killing something down the road, and killing something down the road is why we would want to save it, right? So I think maybe we will dash Ragavan in and try to draw out that Lava Dart. They cast another one from hand. Whoa. That's rough. I think we still play the Channeler here, but that could lead to an explosive turn next turn, right? Or at any point from here on out, basically, for the opponent. That's a little scary. Expressive Iteration again. They just keep going, I guess, sometimes. To me, the deck is now a little more frustrating to play against with this card. And we're a bit punished because they have the only threat that Brutality can't kill. But we're spinning with Channeler, I guess. That's something. So we're going to spin away the Swamp here because we need the 3rd red more than the 5th black. Land in an Inquisition. If we're just going to flood every time against Prowess, that's not a path to victory here, but let's Inquisition, see what they've got. A Manamorphose and a Bedlam Reveler. Holy crap. Okay. I think we probably do lose to that card, in addition to the Entity. I mean, we have them all the way down to 9, we just can't really turn the corner. And they're just going to rip a Lightning Bolt off the top, too. Why not? Alright, well, like I said, this is kind of where our league takes the downturn, I guess. It was so good in the first 2 rounds, but we are getting absolutely rocked in these second 2. And they just, the gas keeps coming. Another bolt off of Rev. Canlan's at the ready, and we will flood. All right. Honestly, we're losing as much to our own flood as anything else, and that's just really unfortunate because our deck's been performing really well, but the flood is pretty untenable in our current situation. So there you go, guys. Some disappointing ones. Nothing I can do about this flooding, right? And not saying I played perfectly, but even if, for example, that bolt-on Stormwing entity doesn't matter. When you're flooding like this and you don't have the Tarmogoyf for an equivalent for a clock, you're not going to get there unless you have the perfect lineup of interaction like we did Game 2, Round 2. But here, getting taken to the cleaners by some really good prowess progressions, and on we go to Round 5. Knocked on off our perch. Now we're trying to cash the league. Let's go. Oh, my friends, how I dearly wish we were on the play with this keep, but I am still going to keep it. Imagine going Inquisition turn 1, Inquisition Thoughtseize turn 2, Lily turn 3. We're still going to be really good again unless the opponent dumps out their hand early and is aggressive and punishes us for a lack of kill spells, and sure enough, it is humans playing a Noble Hierarch T1. So that is a bit rough. We draw Ragavan, which is actually pretty interesting. I still think we're supposed to Inquisition here on this turn, but at least we're doing something that goes to the board, right? Or are we? Yeah, I think we are. I think we're going to use the discard spells while they're good. Okay, they have Thalia, Thalia's Lieutenant, Kitesail Freebooter, Esper Sentinel. Holy moly, look at this insane hand. That would be so much worse if we just had a push for the Noble Hierarch or a Bolt or anything. I think we... Okay, let's settle down and think about this. So Esper Sentinel is going to tax anything we do. So taking that's live, but right now, unless they draw a 1-drop or a land to double spell, that's still an inefficient turn. So I think for that reason, we want to play for them not having the perfect draws given our situation, so we're not going to take Sentinel. I don't think we're going to take Meddling Mage either, because they're unlikely to name more discard spells in the blind. They're likely to name kill spells, which could be a problem, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I think maybe taking Thalia, Guardian of Thraben is the play, although that really punishes us if they draw another one. We could also take Kitesail Freebooter, because that's going to give them Meddling Mage information. And it's also just a good proactive play, but between those two, it's tough, actually. I was going to say I'm going to take Thalia, but it's actually real tough. I still think we take Thalia. They're probably going to play Freebooter, take our Inquisition. We still get to Thoughtseize and Ragavan and take it from there. So many decks would pretty much lose to our opening hand, and if we were on the play, this deck might also lose to our opening hand. As it is, I'm feeling very frightened, to be honest. Feeling very frightened indeed by this progression. So let's see what they go for here. Are they really going to play Esper? Oh, they drew a 1-drop. Dang it. Okay, now they get to do everything. Ooh, that sucks. But hey, we talked through the line, we identified it. It's cool, I love playing against humans. It's a fun matchup for mid-range, but that was a bit rough. Anyway, so now we just kind of have to pay the tax so we don't give them more gas, I think. Which is really annoying. And now I think we have to let the chips fall where they may with their taxing effects and their lockout effects, and we're not going to beat this board if we don't take Thalia's Lieutenant right now. Because they drew Champion specifically, that was just an insane draw. It looks like they're playing Freebooter, yeah, so with that in mind, you know, Blood Moon becomes better because they can't cast Meddling Mage with Cavern of Souls mooned out for now. So I don't know what they're going to take here, but, like, playing Blood Moon gets decent. I mean, just the Esper, stupid Esper Sentinel, they're going to draw. We just need to draw, like, a Lightning Bolt or something, honestly. Just, like, play the bolt. Get the bolt down, pay the tax, get Ragavan down, something like that. Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, that's really what we want. They do take the moon, though. See, I respect that, and I think that was why we made that call, right? It's an interesting game. I'm just feeling like I don't have the tools to compete until we draw Lightning Bolt. Now I'm feeling rather competitive, actually. So, big question is, who do we bolt? Bolting the champion before things get out of hand. Bolting the hierarch to strand cards in hand. Either way, we get to pay the tax and then play a Ragavan. I think we have to bolt champion of the parish because it's going to clock us too fast. The opponent's going to be too wide. If they Meddling Mage naming Thoughtseize or Liliana, that's not the end of the world. Yeah, I really don't want them to draw. All right. If they just draw like a Thalia's Lieutenant, that's going to suck. You know, they have so many good draws, right? And we had so many good bolt targets there. Literally every card there is a valid bolt target, but I'm afraid we just lose to the champion beats. Or even if we draw the right stuff, then Ragavan can't connect. Like, we need to be the one asking the questions of them. Because, again, we don't have, like, a Tarmogoyf to draw and then just stick. And yeah, they're going to play a Meddling Mage. That's not bad for us under these circumstances. That's not bad. They're going to name Liliana, I suppose, unless they have a really good Thoughtseize target in hand. And then, you know, the beats are still pretty real, not going to lie. But, Kroxa. Kroxa's intriguing. We're going to swing with Raggy. Kroxa could stabilize us, and Kroxa's going to get a piece of gas out of their hand. Forcing a trade here is good. Connecting is potentially very good. And without knowledge of what we just drew, the opponent will definitely be tanking here a little bit over whom to name or whom to block. Well, they're going to let it through. Okay, let's go. Big hype, big draw. I'm not even sure we should play most things that we find because we're able to potentially escape Kroxa if we don't. And it's an unclaimed territory. So yeah, I think we just Kroxa a card out of their hand and then try to escape them next turn and hope that's good enough to win. Not going to Thoughtseize because it costs 2 and it takes away our treasure. Another Meddling Mage. Hopefully they don't have a third for Kroxa. That would be a tilt. But yeah, I think we're supposed to put our faith into Kroxa here. Opponent's going to hit us for 4 if they swing all out. Which could leave them open to a Ragavan counterattack, and Ooh, fascinating, fascinating game. I think my kids are like tap dancing upstairs. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Sometimes it comes through, reverberating like through the walls and the floor into my microphone. This has been a super fun league, and again, playing against humans, pretty darn fun in itself. So a fun one to finish off. I hope we win, though. Let's see what OP's got. Is it the third? Oh, no. Ooh. Maybe Thalia? It's the third meddling mage. That's kind of what we were afraid of. That's going to really suck if that's the case. I mean, the odds of that are very low. I don't think playing around that was correct, but if we were playing around that, we would have Thoughtseized and then tried to draw a fourth land off the top. Phantasmal Image, okay. Pick something else. Darn. That's really annoying. Alright, well. Another Thoughtseize. That is mega tilting, guys. That's such a tilt. So, I think we have to attack here, try to draw something useful off Rag. But, oh my god. Could the top deck be any worse? I know this leaves us dead, but we have to spook them into a block here or find something to do. Anything to do, because our deck is not providing it. We got all the kill spells in the world. Where are they? Yeah, I really see why opponent took Blood Moon if they're on multiple meddling mages and indeed a phantasmal image for the meddling mages. Those can spiral out of control. You know, you look at one and you think you can beat it pretty easily, but then if they find more... Ooh, but they're going to block. Nice. Okay. See, opponent doesn't know our draw was so bad, so they're probably like, okay, well, we're pricing them into this. Or, you know, maybe they just have the out anyway. Maybe they have a... what's it called? Well, no, they don't have any outs, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because whatever's in their hand's about to get got. We're still very behind. We're still on a 3-turn clock against a wide board. And if their board gets taller, they can just suicide in. But I think Kroxa is a good stabilizing tool here. And now we just have to hope they flood, basically, to make their attacks poor. We draw a removal spell or two. All right, they had a Champion of the Parish in hand. I was thinking maybe they have a Reflector Mage rolled up, but number one, they'd have to draw the other land for it, which I was going to say. But then number two, of course, they lose whatever's in hand there, obviously. Okay, so... It's a Thalia Guardian of Thraben. Gotcha. It's pretty rough. Oh, come on, deck. Come on, deck, really? Alright, so if we cycle that away main phase, we are just dead. So we have to just sit back and bluff removal and say go and hope they only attack with Freebooter. Alright, well, you know, we're putting up a good fight considering that we've drawn absolute garbage in the most crucial top-decking turns of the game. At no point have we ever... I mean, we only have one kill spell on the draw against humans, right? That's really what it comes down to. So we're putting up a good fight considering Ragavan's been great, Kroxa's been great, but yeah. Alright, we successfully spook him into the non-lethal attack, but we're just going to 2. Don't have any main deck life gain. Okay, opponent drew a brick, so time to cycle away our Triome, and I don't know what we need here that can save us at this point. Blackcleave Cliffs, horrible draw. Seasoned Pyromancer, not a horrible draw. Let's go. Okay, so we need to Spyro into an untapped Painless land, No, we are still just dead. We're just dead to the Exalted. Dang. That's so annoying. Alright, we're dead. Because Thalia taxing us out of a 1-mana spell. So close yet so far. Pretty rough stuff, but this matchup seems okay. It's going to get better post-side. Hey, not a matchup for our... not a league for our Dauthi Voidwalkers. Haven't needed them yet. I'm glad they're in the sideboard on this evidence of this league. There's maybe a space for a cute Kataki or Stony Silence. I doubt we're going to play them. I'm just going to kill everything and try to win that way, especially because Blood Moon is decent against humans. Although Blood Moon and the Artifact Hate do combo. I'm going to cut the Thoughtseizes to begin. Nothing else is bad at all. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to have room for the cute Artifact Hate. I might go down to 2 Blood Moon, even though I think it's good. That's also a liability if they're just playing through Vial, or if it's a top deck war and we draw one. I think 2 is about right on the play. And then we still have 4 cuts to make, and nothing left is bad. So we're going to cut a Kroxa, probably cut a Channeler, reducing our board presence a bit this way. But if you look at our 60, there's like nothing bad. Maybe Kaya's Guile's medium enough to play only 1. Still don't know what the last cut exactly should be. I almost want to play with only 1 Blood Moon, but I think it's probably better than that. We could go down to 2 Lily, although she's pretty good on the play. Maybe Lily's better than Kaya's Guile overall. Maybe you just play without Guile. We don't need to worry about white lands that way, unless we need EE on 3. Seems fine on the play. Maybe on the draw, like a Guile's better than Lily. It's very close, though. This hand's weird. It's got Brutality on the play, which is at least 1 removal spell, and then it's got a couple Kroxas. It's a relatively poor hand. I think it's like a lot of 6s are better than this. But also our top decks could be great, and we do have the Kroxas. Oh, man. I just don't want to mulligan to Oblivion here. This is a functional hand. I'd mull it on the draw, because it's just, we need more low-curve stuff on the draw. I think on the play, we can hope the opponent, takes a mulligan, and then we're probably ahead, assuming decent, proportion of spells off the top. So I'm going to keep it, feeling like maybe slightly favored if they mull to 6, heavily favored if they mull lower, slightly unfavored if they keep 7. They mull to 6, alright. So far, so good, I guess. Let's see how far it gets us. I'm not even sure what land to get here necessarily off of Verdant Catacombs, because we need double red for Kroxa. It's also probably not a bad idea to get white, but I think I'm probably supposed to leave white alone for now and just go get a Blood Crypt on the end step. Alright, OP's keeping 6. So we're going to Brutality their turn 1 threat if they have one. If not, it'll be Kroxa into Brutality their turn 2 threat. Alright, there's a Noble. Got it. We have a Lightning Bolt, which is cool, but I'm just going to Brutality for efficiency's sake here. Bolt a nice draw, though. Thalia's Lieutenant on an empty board, we'll take that. Alright, we've drawn our mountain, fair enough, I guess, so... I could maybe have considered playing the fetch land, because is it the difference between escaping Kroxa and not on turn 4 if we draw another fetch land and we bolt here? I'm not sure. But, you know, erring on the side of saving life is definitely fine, I would say. Mantis Rider. Alright, I guess that's the bolt target, eh? Yeah, so if we draw a fetch land this turn, which would be an awful draw, and I hope we don't, that would be the difference between Kroxa or not. Instead, we draw Fatal Push, which is a beautiful draw. Let's go. And now we can grab Godless Shrine with this fetch land. Getting a couple of Reflector Mages out of their hands, which once we resolve Kroxa is pretty good. And then we still have the Savai Triome in the deck for cycling. Flood Insurance. I wonder if we're supposed to take this hit here in case they have Meddling Mage for Kroxa. I think maybe I will. I think we're winning the race in relative comfort here. Alright, I'll push on the end step for efficiency, or will I? Actually, I don't even think we need to yet. Bonecrusher Giant. Alright, so the reason to push is that we then get to leave the other Kroxa in the bin. Yeah, hopefully that's just good enough. I think that is going to be good enough. Then again, they probably can't exile this Kroxa, so do we really need a second one? I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to cast this one. Exiling one seems fine. So they didn't play a Thalia. Instead, they're just holding up whatever. Canlands? I have no idea. I don't know how to read that, but maybe not playing the push plays around something really weird. Okay, it's a Reflector Mage, sure. So now we push the Lieutenant. We just get to Kroxa whatever that card is out of their hand. Hold up a Stomp, probably. Spyro. Interesting. Oh, sorry, we can't Kroxa this turn. Right. Alright, so I think I might make a little bit of a weird play of just, like, stomping the opponent and playing Bonecrusher, and one reason to do that is because we're pretty choked on red at the moment. It's not the first time I've noticed that, like, wanting to get a Godless Shrine has made our red a little bit worse. Something just to note, the splash not being totally free, or anything like that. But I think the draw of Spyro makes me want to do this. And we're just saying, like, we've depleted you a lot, our threats are bigger than yours, you'll have to have an insane draw to, you know, beat our board at this point, probably. Especially because they're taking so much pain from their lands. But yeah, Thalia's Lieutenant's a really good start for them. I'll take the block if they attack here, I think. Yeah, definitely. No attack. Let's go. Bonecrusher OP. Okay, so we can't quite do everything. So I think we should loot away Kroxa, just play the Spyro here. Rather than just getting one card out of their hand. If, yeah, again, the lack of red preventing us from having an awesome turn. It's still alright, though, I guess. Still some good value. Lily the Last Hope. Hello. Hello, Lily. She's been awesome. I think she's going on the thumbnail this league, especially because it's Ricky's pet card. Boom. See you later, Thalia's Lieutenant. And now let's get some pressure going with a Bonecrusher Giant swing. I think that's the move. What a draw. And they'll take the trade. I mean, that's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for OP, if I've ever seen one, right? Even got Ragavan in the back pocket, Kroxa in the bin. And the keep of a slow but stable hand was extremely rewarded, we have to say that. Now, on the draw here, we might make a change or two, but we're looking for a fire. We're looking for a fire progression with a bunch of low curve efficient interaction and something to turn the corner quickly. I think on the draw, I can say that, like, maybe we can cut a Lily, bring back either a Channeler or a Kaya's Guile. Again, I think about 2 Kroxas is correct. I don't know if 2 Blood Moon is correct on the draw. Maybe it is just 1. So we could bring back a Channeler and a Guile and just be a little bit more respecting their progressions that way. I think that's about right. The Miserly 1 of Moon could still steal the game. Not too much of a liability if we draw it when it's not good, hopefully. All right, the rubber match. This has been quite a fun league, and this is for a positive result. Okay, it's only got 3 spells, but I do like it. I do like the 3 spells that we have. I do like that the opponent mulls. I'm grateful for that. We'll give it a keep. Once again, operating off of a painful Canland from the jump. We've got Ragavan. That's pretty cool. I wonder if, well, if they've just done nothing on turn 1, I would play Ragavan. Because they have Guile, I still kind of want Inquisition. I also kind of want to just play Ragavan. I think the responsible thing to do is Inquisition and break up their mulliganing hand, especially because Guile does not represent, like, a piece of gas, strictly. Imperial Recruiter. Kitesail freebooter, champion of the parish. Well, they're going to get to double spell next turn if we take the Recruiter, but I still think maybe we do. Recruiter is just a 2-for-1 after all. I think we need to play that longer game. We could get punished for this if they draw, like, more aggressive, low-curve stuff. Oh no, I'm sorry. That makes me like my take even more, to be fair, but I didn't notice that they don't have black for Kitesail Freebooter until right now. So, that's even better, right? That's even better, because now we just get to play Ragavan, hold up Lightning Bolt, we draw Lily the Last Hope. We're doing it, guys. We're curving out. I think we're going to wait here to see whether we actively need to bolt the champion, or whether it's better to bolt the freebooter if they have a double spell capability here. And by spell, I mean including the vial, right? Then maybe we do before he gets out of hand. Whoa, nothing, huh? Alright. So I think I'm going to go get Savai Triome here. To give us white, to give us that second red, and then I'm probably going to untap in Brutality. The champion, see what they violin. It'd be punishing if it's a Thalia's lieutenant, right? Oh, they're going to respond. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. That's fair enough. Okay. We'll just see what they take here, and we'll have a pretty clear path with our turn, at least, I guess. We can just kill both of their things either way, as far as I would expect. But if they take the bolt now, they'll give us a less efficient turn next turn. And that's indeed what they do. Sure. Bonecrusher Giant's a good one too, but we might as well conceal info and stomp the freebooter. We're just going for the obvious lines here. Maybe we'll get like a Noble Hierarch or something sweet off of Ragavan. What if we get Aether Vial? Would we play that, or would we value the treasure? Sanctum Prelate. Alright, well, we obviously can't cast that, but it is no longer our problem to worry about, at least. So, Sanctum Prelate. ETB, choose a number. Non-creature spells with mana value equal to the chosen number can't be cast, which would probably be 1 against our Fatal Push Lightning Bolt Inquisition deck. But she does die to stomp anyway. Nevertheless, a fine one to get rid of, I suppose. And we'll see what else they have in store for us off of this Aether Vial on 3. Imperial Recruiter. Okay. Well, we know that dies to Last Hope, but maybe they go tutor a lieutenant to buff it, but that will also die to Last Hope, right? Either way, I think something's dying to Last Hope next turn. And because of our treasure, we can stomp the other thing too, whatever it might be. Unless they've drawn maybe a land and they play like it's something with higher toughness. Big respect to OP for using the old border. Is this Portal 3 Kingdoms or something similar where this is from? I don't exactly know, but the art's beautiful from Mitsuaki Sagiri. Sanctifier on Vec! Ooh! Not on my radar, not gonna lie. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Uh-oh. I mean, Bonecrusher Giant can stomp. And, I mean, we have that lined up, so if the opponent takes the block, the opponent's still in a bad spot, actually. You know, if they take the block, they get stomped, they lose their hoser, and if they don't, Ragavan keeps doing Ragavan things, so, okay. Alright, feels a little rough, honestly, to have to lose our Ragavan and use our Stomp that way when it's such a good kill spell, but I am very grateful to have an out to this card at all, because this card beats the pants off of our deck. in so many different ways. And we've got Lily on an empty board at 4. Now, the opponent's not down and out at all, because we only have a land in hand and a Bonecrusher to cast. They've got Vial on 3, a handful of Relative Gas, and Mantis Rider, a real scary one, actually. Double yeah, double Mantis Rider with Phantasmal Image, so they're going to attack Lily off the field. She's so good against Mantis Rider, or against Phantasmal, but she's done for now. Okay. All right, opponent's playing off the top, but they've got a couple of good ones. Let's draw a good one of our own. Kalitas. That qualifies as a good draw. Very mana-efficient play this turn as well. All right. That qualifies as in most excellent draw. I think Kalitas goes on the cover here, too. We're getting so many cool cover candidates. Kalitas, Liliana, Ragavan, and maybe, I don't know, some other red spell for balance. This is quite the finale, my friends. I hope you're having fun, especially you, Ricky. Hopefully they didn't find another piece of gasoline here. Fatal Push, what a draw, because if they have like a bounce effect or some removal that turns on the push, good draw. All right, we should be winning the race here, given the lifelink of Kalitas. I'm almost surprised they didn't crack the canopy first, if that was their play, you know, to maybe look for a Reflector Mage or something, but they could be playing around our potential discard effects as well. All right. One of OP's finds is a land. They've got 2 more candidates here. And you know what? I won't pretend that I was playing around Freebooter to do this right now, but it works out really well, and I'm glad I remember this when I did. Mantis Rider is going to die, the Phantasmal Image Mantis Rider is going to die to Fatal Push, because you can target this even though it doesn't have, even though its mana value is higher than 2. So that's a blowout. And I admittedly did forget about that at the time that I drew it, but as it happens, I remembered in time for it not to matter, and we get to kind of price them into playing the Freebooter, or maybe they had a better play otherwise. So it all works out perfectly. And yeah, good moment if anybody hasn't played against Phantasmal Image in a while, which I haven't. You can still target things with high CMCs or mana values with Fatal Push, it just won't destroy them. But Phantasmal Image, whenever it is targeted, it is sacrificed by its controller, right? So that's how that works, and that was obviously very significant in the outcome of this game, I have to assume. I still do have 1 unknown in hand. We'll see what it is maybe this turn, but yeah, OP firmly on the back foot here. Let's put them to the test. So this is lethal, so they have to do something. Hopefully it's not a Reflector Mage for Kalitas. It's a Sanctum Prelate. Gotcha. Doesn't affect us at the moment. Alright, OP, throwing the Mantis Rider in front of the zombie is their first instinct. I don't know if that's going to be the right block at the end. They might have to mob block Kalitas, I don't know, but Kalitas gets to become a 5/6 and we're going to make a bunch of other zombies. So if we become a 5/6, we're still going to die to this mob block, but then the opponent's against a super wide board. So instead they go for that block, which is fair enough. They don't have any great blocks. That's why we just swing all out and make them figure it out, right? And they're shuffling the pack again. Okay. That's an interesting one. I think that's a pretty good block from OP. And I think instead of taking I think I'm going to stay wide because our zombies are as big or bigger than their stuff. I don't need the extra lifelink at the moment. So we're just going to allow this trade to happen, keep our wide board so we don't get blown out by like a single Reflector Mage on Kalitas or something. That should be good enough. Obviously, we've drawn a brick for turn, but we're very far ahead. I can't think of anything the opponent could have here besides maybe a Reflector Mage that doesn't just result in them continuing to throw their board away to stay alive. That's the concession. All right, good games, well played. All right, my friends, so that was our Mardu mid-range league, which frankly felt a lot like our Rakdos mid-range league with maybe slightly worse mana, although, you know, I tend to have my mid-range instinct of leaving Triome in the deck if I have like 5 lands already to shuffle, to cycle rather, and Flood Ensure myself, but, you know, if we need that third red, maybe I could have gotten Triome a time or two when we got Godless Shrine. A very minor consideration overall, though, both in terms of that strategy and in terms of our mana being slightly worse. I really do mean slightly. It wasn't a big deal. And, I mean, we got to resolve Akaya's Guile. That's about it. Didn't see our other white cards. Didn't end up putting EE on 3. So, basically a Rakdos league in practice, a Mardu league in name for Ricky Rankle. Thank you so much, Ricky, for your support. Once again, I want to say how impressed I am with Ricky's list, given how new he is to Modern and how inexperienced he is. We did make a tweak or two, but this is basically his idea. And thank you once again to Vince Flynn for your support, for your wonderful YouTube comments, and coming in at the Confidant tier. We do appreciate that. So, a 3-2 league, a decent results, nothing setting the world on fire, but nothing to really complain about either as far as the result goes. We faced Blue-Red Prowess twice. I think that's a tough matchup. I'm pretty happy to split that one. 1 win, 1 loss. The Hammer Time loss is the one that felt a little bit bad, because that's a tough deck in general, but I think it's favorable for us. It's just tough because we lost to Urza Saga, right? We lost to Urza Saga in Game 3, and that was brutal. They showed us, like, the perfect combo draw off the top for Game 1, despite some really good interaction, and they showed us the perfect value progression Game 3. In their top decks, given the rest of their progression, were very, very, very much above par, right? Like, they're drawing the exact right half at the right time. That's a winnable matchup. Would have been nice to win it here. We don't quite manage to. Again, I accept losing 1 of 2 against Prowess. That's totally fine. You're probably not going to win more than half your games against Prowess, even if you tech heavily for them with a Rakdos or Mardu shell. We also beat 2 Imperial Recruiter decks, which is cool to see that card seeing some play. We beat Yawgmoth Master predicted in round 1. Good games there, and a powerful display from our deck there, splashing red for Recruiter, among maybe other things. And then we beat Recruiter in Humans in game 1, 2, and 3 of match 5. We lost one of them. I'm losing my ability to speak. You understand what I'm trying to say. So a pretty cool league overall. Ragavan continues to really impress across a variety of shells. I always kind of knew he would. He is that powerful that he is a mid-range card, despite having some, skepticism over whether he is. I really think he is. And the one of Lily of the Last Hope was completely incredible this league, absolutely showing why she is still a real card here. We didn't even get to turn 2 her on the playoff of Ragavan, although that can happen too. But just like using her in the old-fashioned way, she was absolutely insane. We definitely loved the performance of Kroxa, as we usually do, and Bonecrusher Giant was arguably the 4th thumbnail slot because beating Sanctifier on Vex so cleanly was huge. The stomps, the 2-for-1s, and the pressure. The pressure of Bonecrusher Giant is underrated in this shell, I believe. And the fourth spot that I kind of skipped over because I mentioned it already in round 5, gotta go to Kalitas. We don't see this guy that often any longer. He was spectacular here, my friends. Very, very cool closer for that final match and another match as well. So, I don't think I would have much to complain about with this current list. We'll see how the meta performs and evolves, and we'll adjust accordingly, right? But this is really about where I'd like to be. I think the Spyros were clutch for us continuing to win some of the longer games, so I feel rewarded for leaving the fourth one in over the fourth Channeler, although if the format speeds up, Spyro becomes a little bit more of a liability. It was cool to have Blood Moon around. We didn't really need it, but you saw that like the Humans player really respected it enough to take it away, and also the Yawgmoth player frightened of it as well. And we didn't play big mana, right? So we didn't really need that. Didn't really need the Pillages, and we didn't need Dauthi Voidwalker here. I understand playing 4. Like I said, I believe in the deck tech. I might feel a little more comfortable with 2 Voidwalker, 2 Spellbomb, something like that. And maybe we don't quite need as many slots to that effect in general, because we do have Kalitas and Kaya's Guile for supplementary hate, and Dauthi Voidwalker, very good against control and big mana, as well as graveyard decks. But, you know, so as always, there's room to move around the sideboard. But Ricky, your list is great, my friend. Sorry, our charge out of the gates, which was so strong, got derailed a little bit by hammer time and prowess, but we finished strong with a win against humans. Not even particularly geared for all the low-curve creature-based decks that we faced, more than a Rakdos deck usually would be. Like, we're only on 3 Fatal Push, we don't have Plague Engineer, blah, 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 but we still do thrive in some of those situations, and we showed that here. So, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you're doing these days with Rakdos, whether you think this minor white splash is something that is worth it, and as always, let me know what you think about the content. Thank you again for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.